Hello, and welcome all to this next session of Webinars Now. This is Dave Lundahl. I'm CEO for Insights Now, and I'm here with Julie Quanti, who's joining me and will be co-presenting with me today on this really exciting topic, hopes and dreams and 2019 resolutions of clean label enthusiasts. If you have not seen any of the other Webinars Now sessions, all the past ones we've been doing monthly for the last couple of years, they're on our website, and you can go through and register and listen to any and watch any of those past ones. A lot of really great topics that you can delve into. And this one is a repeat of one we did a year ago when we also in 2018 looked at the resolutions of clean label enthusiasts. And I'll talk about who they are, but it's basically a community of people we have that are very much part of this clean label or free from movement that is impacting the food industry and also non-food industries. So with that, let's get into this. I'm going to, these are the co-presenters, Dave Lundahl, I'm CEO, founded Insights Now, and I'm really excited to be able to talk with Julie Quanti. Julie, do you want to do a brief introduction of yourselves?
Sure. My name is Julie Quante. I'm a research director with Insights Now. I've worked with major packaged good companies, primarily in sensory and consumer research, and I really enjoy digging into the data and finding those hidden insights, as well as providing clients all the info that they need to be successful in the marketplace.
Fantastic. If you are new to Insights Now, this is really a statement that really sums up a lot of what we're about. We're a behavioral market research company, and we believe by looking at people as people really leads to uncovering insights that really helps companies get faster to market and be more successful. And we apply this in a whole variety of different ways, in a variety of different industries, food, beverage, personal care, household care, beauty care, a lot of different industries. We work in product development, marketing and messaging, brand positioning, planning, and all these areas. And as you think about the subject of, if you're trying to really understand the future and forecast and project, it really impacts all these areas and all sorts of business units that are trying to really understand what it is that consumers are seeking to improve their lives. So with that, one of the most exciting areas is this area of understanding consumer trends. Now, before I get into the content, just a little bit of housekeeping. This is as you see on your, if you've not used Webinars Now, on the sidebar, you will see something that says questions and chat. What we'd like to do is specifically if you have any questions during the course of this sort of presentations that we're giving today, we'd like you to please type in your questions, and then we will address those at the very end here. So a good kind of question and answer sort of period. Okay, so you can send it privately, you can send it to everybody, but so it's something that we'd like to be able to address as the questions come forth. All right, so that said, move on. Now, a few years ago, we did a presentation, or we did a survey to the industry, and we looked at, the question is, what are some of the biggest challenges from this free from movement? What are the biggest challenges to companies? And we find that it's package design challenges, it's targeting, deciding who to really target in terms of developing new products for, and also the question of product development challenges. And it's really, you see, Trix is a good example of 3 years ago, they came out with a product that was clean label and realized real quickly that a lot of consumers were rejecting it because the coloring and so on changed the product in ways that the existing brand fans rejected it. So you have to be careful, and that's part of the challenges, an example of the challenges that a lot of companies are facing. So with that, what we did is to understand the free from movement, we created a community of people. These people are very specific and part of what we call the new trust economy. What the new trust economy is, from our research, is showing that these are consumers that are more influenced by likes that they see on Facebook or comments on social media or on websites than they are based on scientific information or information that that are provided by large institutions like large corporations, the government, and so on and so forth. So they're more influenced by what other people are seeing and impactful. So it's a fascinating sort of area. Clean label enthusiasts, this group of people that we discovered, are very different in some ways. They read the ingredients on the back labels for products, 81 to 31% to a great extent. They are, to a great extent, more concerned about having too many chemicals in the products that they purchase, and they will avoid buying brands they think that have these unhealthy sort of elements in it. They're about 27% of the U.S. population, fairly well distributed throughout the U.S., and we've been tracking them for about 5 quarters now and finding a lot of information about that. There, as I said, the impact of social media, but also friends and family. So very social oriented in terms of what do you trust? What's the information you trust? They're very different in the types of claims that influence them. All natural, GMO, USDA organic, if you're talking about food. And same goes with non-food products. Very influenced by claims that address their concerns. They shop very differently. They shop at more stores than other consumers, an average of 4 stores versus 3.1. And they're influenced by a different set of brands that really speak to the concerns that they have. In addition, we've done tons of research. This is research based on about 19,000 consumers. It was a text analytics piece of research we did to really understand the emotional tags and what is really driving rejection of products that they are concerned about. So fear and anger are the emotions, fear about things that would harm them, anger about things that are fake and like claims. So you see it here in the artificial ingredients, sugar, preservatives are 3 things that they're very different versus non-clean label enthusiasts, these other primary shoppers. They're also, if you look at the things that they're accepting, the things that they're gravitating towards, is driven by hope. Hope in things that they believe, either from their family or watchdog activists or food or sites or in content that they read that have a lot of likes on. And also, they believe smaller companies, smaller brands versus large companies. They're hope for things that are safe. They want to things concerned about natural and organic, simple ingredient lists, recognizable ingredients, natural foods, and there's an element of hope on ethical things. They really seek to support brands and companies and growers in terms of their growing practices. If you're talking about of agricultural-based products that have ethical practices. So, and you see it here in this research, trust large companies versus small companies. There are differences in terms of the degree of trust when you make a claim on the front of a package of simple, natural, authentic, pure, fresh, farm sustainable, minimally processed, and so on. That it's less trust for if that's coming from a very large company versus a small company. And they're seeking food transparency. They're in the labeling and product information that they can discover. All right. So last year, we really, with this community, we have several hundred people in this community. We are able to then, after the first of the year, when people are thinking about their New Year's resolutions, we actually engaged with a couple hundred people, and we did the same this year. So last year, what we found is kind of setting the table here is that 5 forecasts is that bottled water or water sales would be on the increase. There will be opportunities for healthier beverage alternatives. We forecast that there will be opportunities for alternative snacks. And we forecasted there would be a slowdown in meal replacement, such as energy bars and granola bars, as well as dessert. People there are also seeking healthier dessert alternatives. So these are the 5 sort of forecasts based on our research last year. And so today, Julie is going to step us through and talk through some of the things that are, what we found this year in a comparison to last year. So, Julie.
All right. Thanks, Dave. So give me just a second here. I'm waiting for my screen to pop up. All right. Okay, this is not working, Dave. Did you give me screen sharing?
I did. Well, let me try this differently, okay? I'm going to take it back. Sorry about this, folks.
Sorry about that.
Can you send it back to me, please? You can give me back control. Okay, and we're going to go back to, I'm just going to give you the mouse. I think that's what I did. I tried to change presenter. Okay, there we are. Now you should be able to.
All right. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Little blip always happens. So we're going to look at 4 areas today. The research approach is basically what we did. So we went to the Clean Label community, as we did last year, and we asked them, did you make a resolution? And if you did, what is it if it's related to foods and beverages or non-food products? So if you did, then select a food, beverage, or non-food category that was related to your New Year's resolution. And then how does that relate to your resolution? Was it something you wanted to avoid, something you wanted to add, or something that you wish to replace? And then finally, what brands or products in that category are important to help you achieve that resolution? So what did people say? If we go to the resolutions, we see that in 2018, 67% said they made a resolution specifically related to food or beverages. And in 2019, not very much of a change, 61% made a change related to a food or beverage. This year, we added non-foods, which is deciding it doesn't want to come up. All right, there we go. In which 28% made a resolution related to non-foods, items such as hair care. All right, so what were these strategies? In 2018, 6% said they were avoiding something in food and beverage. That number jumped to 35% in 2019. In 2018, 34% were adding something, and that jumped to 40% in 2019. So you can see where this is going. In 2018, 60% were replacing, and then that jumped down to 25% in the food and beverage categories. And we'll delve into that a little bit more when we get into the specific areas of food and beverage. For non-food, which was new for this year, we found that only 2% were avoiding products, 73% were planning to add a non-food clean label product, and 25% were replacing something. All right, so let's jump into the food and let's see what we found from the clean label community, what their New Year's resolutions were. So the 5 major trends that came up: water consumption will continue increasing. Consumers will continue to seek out healthier beverage alternatives. They'll eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, seek out alternative snack foods less than in the past, and reduce sugar and sweets. So let's look at that first trend. Water consumption will continue increasing. So we know that water is the ultimate clean beverage. Last year, 20% said they were going to drink more water, and that jumped to 23%. So drinking water, interest in water is not going away, it's increasing. Of that 23%, 14% plan to add more water in 2019, which was a jump over 2018 as well. And then of those also, consumers that responded that wanted to replace another drink or beverage with water went down a little bit from 13% to 8%, but still very much interest in water, very many people wanting to add water to their diet, to what they're already eating and drinking. So let's see what people are saying about water. So these comments were from respondents, and this one I found particularly interesting. I need to start drinking more water. I think it's the most important resolution, staying hydrated as well. I don't think anyone nor their doctors would think that that was not an accurate statement. So let's go on to the second forecast. Consumers continue to seek out healthier beverage alternatives. So looking at this from last year, we saw really no change. 18% wanted to add or replace a healthier beverage with a beverage with a healthier option. Went to 19% in 2019. Of those, a little bit of a jump, adding more teas and juices. A little bit of a drop, but replacing beverages with teas or juices. And then not much change in adding or replacing other drinks with more nutritional beverages. So from this information, we can see we saw this in 2018, that people wanted healthier beverage options, and it's definitely still here to stay, that the numbers did not decrease. So of particular interest in this category was tea. This comment, tea, especially green, is healthy and helps to cut calories, as well as tastes good, as well as drinking more herbal teas and reducing caffeine was someone's resolution in the healthier beverage category. Forecast number 3, consumers want to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. Fresh fruits and vegetables are definitely on the increase. We saw 19% that responded this year that wanted to add fresh fruits and vegetables to their diet. And that could be a number of reasons. As we see on the comment to the left, they want to eat more vegetables and actually make their own fruit juices. The respondent on the right had a health situation, radiation and chemo, and they just want to add fresh fruits and vegetables to their diet. The next forecast, number 4, consumers are going to seek out alternative snack foods less. So this was the first area that we saw actually made a decrease. The desire for snacking alternatives has gone down. In 2018, 18% plan to replace the snack foods that they eat. And in the sweet snack alternative, 5% plan to seek an alternative to a sweet snack, and salty snacks dropped from 7% to 1% in seeking alternatives for snacking. So what did people say about that? This particular person said that they wanted to cut out fried foods, which would include potato chips, anything snack-wise, as well as peanuts and salty things. So they just want to remove it and avoid that product altogether. Then forecast number 5, consumers want to reduce sugar and sweets. Sugar and sweets continue to be an area of concern. In 2018 and in 2019, 18% said they wanted to reduce sugar and sweets. What are people saying about that? Sweets are my biggest issue. Sugar is so bad, I can eliminate much of it, but I love desserts. And I can sympathize with this person because I love desserts as well. So other trends that will continue into 2019. Avoiding salt still is a concern. Avoiding carbs. Avoiding artificial ingredients or anything perceived to have artificial ingredients, as well as processed foods. We'll also see trends of avoiding gluten. No change in avoiding alcohol, but I thought it was interesting that consumers still continue to mention that they were going to avoid alcohol in 2019. And then an increase that people wanted to replace foods with organic, 10% in 2018, 5% in 2019, but still of interest to look for organic foods instead of other foods. All right, so let's look at the non-foods. As I mentioned, we added the non-food category this year, and we wanted to know, did consumers seek clean label products for non-food items? From previous research, we see that yes, that they definitely think that clean label in oral care, body care, home care is very important to have clean products, chemical free, and so on. So the first forecast that we found from this research was that 35% mentioned improved oral care of some sort, from using non-fluoride toothpaste or a more natural one to just simply brushing my teeth more thoroughly. But consumers are interested in oral care. The second forecast, 33% mentioned that they wanted more natural skincare products, to use items that were free of things that they did not want, synthetic things and things that they didn't want in their skincare, and that would have their skin be nourished and healthier. The next forecast was chemical-free hair care. From the comment of embracing my gray hair and avoiding chemicals, as I'm not going to color it anymore, or looking for natural and organic shampoo brands that would see how your hair reacts to it and add those type of products as well. And then finally, 10% wanted safer home care products, specifically mentioned seventh generation detergents or method detergent brands for home care, that they want a clean home but don't want the additives and chemicals that are in most of the products that we see today. All right. So what have we learned from all of this information that we gathered from our clean label enthusiast? There are opportunities for food and beverage companies. The first is seeking more opportunities for hydration, clean and pure beverages such as water. As I said, water is not going away. More interest in more water this year than we saw last year, and that percentage still is very high when looking at the number of responses. Second, seeking healthier beverage alternatives, smoothies, juices, teas, all of those type of items still are trending in this area that people want healthier opportunities. Seeking fresh fruits and vegetables. Anyone that's talked to their doctor knows that fresh fruits and vegetables are important, and as well with the clean label community. Fourth, seeking less alternative snacking options. So this was the one, as I mentioned before, that we did see a decrease, that consumers in this area are not seeking as many different options in alternative snacking as they had in the past. And then finally, less sugar and sweets. As we saw, no change from last year, but still an area on the top of mind of the CLE when looking at what they wanted to address in the new year. Then for non-food companies, oral care alternatives, items such as natural toothpaste, skincare alternatives, natural body lotions, seeking hair care alternatives, chemical, cruelty-free colorings and shampoos, and finally, home cleaning alternatives, safer cleaners.
Right. So I'd like, before we get into question and answer here, I'd like to make a couple other comments. Can we go back to that last slide, Julie? So, if you think about it, the clean label enthusiasts community and this group of people are really forward-thinking consumers. They are consumers that we should listen to, because they are on the forefront of what is really driving a lot of the changes that we're seeing in the CPG industry. So if you look at just food and beverage as an example, one of the things that we're asking ourselves is, what is underlying this? Why? If you can go back, please.
Sorry, I'm trying to switch and it's still not working.
Here, I'll do it. I got it.
Okay.
I've got control here.
Sorry about that.
So that's all right. So this is an area. So So why more hydration, such as water? Why more healthy beverages, versus, why less snacking? Why the concern in sugar and sweets? So these are things that we have seen as related to other trends that we're seeing in the industry. We're seeing a lot of consumers moving more towards lifestyle diets versus specific diets. And remember, for those of you who may have joined us in January webinar, we talked about that quite a bit. So sugar remains to be a key issue. We're seeing a lot of consumer behavior shifting, a lot of concern about sugar and various other types of sweeteners in particular. So it continues to be an issue. Fresh fruits and vegetables. What does this mean? If you're not providing fresh packaged fruits and vegetables, where is the alternatives? Well, there could be a lot of alternatives for new products that have the perception of providing freshness in fruits and vegetables and getting those sort of things that are more healthier into diets. So I think as we're learning, this is making a lot of sense. And if you look at the different categories that are shifting and growing the most in the industry, these are some of the trends that we need to take a look at, and so that companies can be faster and more successful in where they place their innovation markets, innovation sort of opportunities, and how you position products for success. So that's a lot of in terms of food. Non-food, we're seeing more and more sort of these sort of trends towards natural in products, more and more of these trends towards people's concerns about things that are taking them away from or having addressing concerns that they have with regard to chemicals and things that are either sprayed in their environment, provided in the environment as home care products, put on their bodies or put in their mouth, and so on and so forth. So it's fitting a lot of trends. It's exciting to see this sort of come out in terms of what we're looking at. So with that said, we're at a point where we love to get some exchange back and forth, question and answer from some of you. So I see there's a number of questions. So I'll read through these and let's see where they go. So where do these panelists expect to source the increased water consumption? Tap water, bottled water, premium bottled water, etc. Also, are they referring to uncarbonated water exclusively? Okay, so that's a really good question. Julie, do you have anything you want to talk about there?
Yeah, so with the increased water consumption, some folks definitely just mentioned tap water, bottled water. They mentioned everything across the board, primarily uncarbonated water. There were a few mentions more in the replacement of potentially replacing sugary sodas with uncarbonated water products than just the plain water. But there wasn't as much mention of bottled water as we'd seen in the past, just water in general.
Yeah. So the thing that we've seen with regard to some of our work with this community in terms of ingredients that people either implicitly reject or accept has a lot to do with products that are pure, products that are clean with regard to water. And so the perceptions of pure and clean, to address this question, products that and ingredients that are simple, pure, clean, I think, and so we have a lot of other information about carbonated and non-carbonated, and showing that you can get the same sort of fresh, clean, simple, pure positioning of products through carbonated and uncarbonated products. So we got a lot of information we could share on that further, but the answer is those sort of products are all going to be fitting this need. So next question is, how do these panelists view natural sweeteners? Do they want items less sweet or not sweet at all? So that's an interesting question. So let me address this, Julie, because whereas this research that we're presenting today doesn't address that, other research we've done with the community do. So clean label enthusiasts, it's not necessarily about the level of sweetness as much as what are the sweeteners that are being used. So sweetness can signal, something, but they're more avoiding products that have sweeteners that are artificial and that are from non-natural sources. So the top sweetener is honey. It just significantly in just about every product category is number one. But right on the coattails of honey are sweeteners that are from natural sources, and things like everything from agave and things like that. Sugar itself, things that are people understand, are also fairly well accepted. But if you use instead of sugar on your back labeling and say sucrose, people tend to reject that much more frequently, probably because they don't understand sucrose is the same as sugar. And things like high fructose corn syrup, of course, much more rejected, highly rejected amongst these consumers that are clean label enthusiasts. So it's not about the level of sweetness as it is about what the ingredients are. Okay, next question. Let's see. Any sense of what percent of all consumers considered clean label enthusiasts? Okay, so if we look at the demographics, we see amongst U.S. Gen Pop primary shoppers, it's tracking about 27%. And that's not statistically changed overall from 5 quarters ago. So when we first started doing this research. So maybe you can even say a year and a half now, because we're into halfway through this next quarter. So that's point one. Point two, clean label enthusiasts tend to look like other shoppers and other consumers demographically, with a couple of points. They tend to be a little bit more concentrated on the West Coast, and also pockets in Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and a very strong presence up in New York, upstate New York, New England, and so on and so forth. So you tend to be much more concentrated in urban areas than rural areas, and less concentrated in the Midwest. So they, for this reason, but beyond that, they're a behavioral segment, more defined about their behaviors and their belief systems about ingredients and their attitudes about brands and so on, and companies, large versus small companies and so on, things that fit more the trust economy. Than they are about demographically and so on and so forth. Okay. Any other questions here? Well, super. Let me just move on to next slide here. So if you are interested in getting access to these consumers that are part of this community, say we have several hundred of them right now, just give us a call, because this is a very exciting community. They're very forward thinking. We have a tremendous amount of content about their attitudes and beliefs, tremendous amount of content about category usage. what are they seeking. We have a tremendous amount of information about claims that influence them, about other things. And so we'd love to be able to um, have provide access to you so you can work with this community. And a shout out for save the date for our next webinar, which will be on Thursday, March the 7th, uh, 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time. And the title is going to be Going Behavioral with the Implicit Explicit Test. And it's going to be led by the Chief Research Officer of Insights Now, Greg Stuckey. So that's it. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. We really enjoyed the questions that you're able to provide. And if you have any other questions or comments, please do not hesitate to contact either Julie or myself or anyone else you may know at Insights Now. So with that, everyone, have a great day.